Hi, so in this video we're going to continue with our data formatting tabs that are available, and we're going to focus on this section of Excel in the tabs, right? So what does all this mean, and how do we really look at alignments as we look at the data, right? Now some of this is figuratively easy to kind of understand, because when you look at it, it'll give you a sense of what it is trying to do. So let's understand and get into this, and once we get a sense, it'll be easier for us to try this out. So let's look at use top, middle, and bottom functionality for alignment. Let's say there's a number 1, 2, 3 written in this cell A7. If I just resize it a little bit, I find that 1, 2, 3 is lower now on the left bottom side. I may want it here, I may want it here, I may want it here, 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 or I may want it right at the center of this particular cell. Depending on where I want it, I could choose to align it, right? So the the bottom three alignment pieces that you see in this formatting tab on the top, one is left align, one is center align. So when I click it, it starts becoming justified on the center. And then we have a right align, in which case if I click it, it goes and gets aligned on the right side. The top three, as it would suggest, are looking for vertical alignment, right? So in terms of vertical alignment, the first one is top, the second one is middle, and the third one is bottom. So I can use any of these combinations. So for example, I use top and I use left, the cell goes to the top left. I use top and I use right, it comes here. I use top and I use center. 1, 2, 3 comes right in the middle on the top part of the cell. If I use middle, it exactly comes into the center of the cell. So sometimes it is good in terms of formatting data. If the cell size is bigger, you may want to kind of align it in a way that it looks more readable. It looks more aesthetic to the entire worksheet that you're trying to create, right? So that's what you do with alignment as such, top and bottom. Remember, the top three are for vertical alignment, and the next three are for horizontal alignment within the cell, right? Then we have something called as use indentation. Now, let's say I want the cell, let's increase the size of this cell a little bit. And let's say I want this A, B, C, D, E to not start on the left, but start slightly ahead from the left. So I can add an indent here. So these two, right at the bottom of this AB that is written here, are used to kind of increase indentations, right? If I put this as right aligned, let's say, and then put in the number. So this is left aligned at this point of time, right at the left side. I can keep increasing the indent and move it slightly on the right side. Sometimes it might be necessary. For example, you are putting headers in a particular cell. It might make more sense to kind of put these indentations somewhere, right? I can move it back to the left side. It's like the tab key on the word processor that you find. When you press tab, the text automatically moves a little bit on the right side. That's what we are trying to do here with this indent key. Can we use angular movements? Can the text be at an angle or a certain direction? Now, as it would seem, this particular tab here, because you see AB with an arrow in a diagonal fashion, you can change the orientation of the text. So I can angle it counterclockwise, I can angle it clockwise. You can put text vertically, right? So suppose you are creating a table on which the header is on the left hand side. You may want to create the text vertically top to bottom. You can create the text in this fashion, which is vertical, but it's kind of at a 90-degree angle. And you can put the text on this as well. So text can be at an angle depending on what your need is, and that's what your angle of clockwise versus counterclockwise would be. And that's where this alignment or the text can be at angle could be used. This is the angular movement of text that can come in. Now, sometimes this entire line extends dramatically. So remember, we saw that I can double click it and it automatically arranges itself to the line. If I don't do this and I want it to kind of fit in the same cell, I don't want to increase, let's say, the width of the column, but I'm okay doing the height of the cell, even if I increase the height, it does not rearrange itself within that, right? So what do? I click on this wrap text. You see the wrap text thing? It'll automatically wrap the text within that cell and plug it in a format such that it comes within the cell, and the height of the cell automatically adjusts itself once you wrap the text, right? So you can undo it again by clicking the same tab, wrap text, undo it, right? Then what comes is merge and center. Sometimes you are building a table and on the top you want a header which is like central aligned, right? So you want to justify it right at the center. So you can actually merge all these cells together. So you can click merge and center. It automatically merges everything and center aligns it. Now at this point of time, you can choose to left align it or right align it depending on if whatever your requirement is. But merge and center by default will put everything in between. You click that again, it unmerges the cells again, right? So merge and center. Now merge and center has an important parameter that you need to understand, which is about the fact that if you link all these three together and you try and press merge and center, Excel will throw an error. Merging cells only keeps the upper left cell value and discards the other values. In other words, whichever is the leftmost and uppermost cell in this, that will be the value that would be there. So essentially only ABCD will be there. Everything else will get discarded. So when you do that, the other text automatically goes off, right? So in this case, if I press it again, it does not retrieve the other data. So be careful when you are using multiple cells and trying to merge it. Automatically, a merged cell should have only one entry, and hence it will only have the leftmost cell that is available. This is what happens when you merge cells together in order to kind of get this data. The reason it says uppermost left cell is if I put in more data in, let's say I put in D, C, F, G, E or whatever, and I put X, Y, Z, W, Q, and I take these cells and I try and do a merge and center, it'll give me the same error once again, and it'll only keep the first top left value. It will not keep any other values that we have seen here, right? So that's what this particular tab in terms of formatting and alignment of the cell text does. Primarily used for formatting and making it look slightly more appealing to the eye, aesthetic to the eye, and easier to understand data when it is given in the form of an Excel worksheet. So that's what we do with the alignment.